Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I'm your host, Eric Sankar, your bartender in the OSR. This is a special live stream. Now, I know that we normally do the vlog of many things with myself, Don, Tom. There's a lot of balls currently in the air, scheduling wise, going on right now, including for me this weekend. So I think I'll just throw some of the balls in the air and we'll see where they land. Uh, Don had a meeting uh, late. It was a late scheduled meeting for today that was running late. So Don wasn't going to be able to make it. So we were like, all right. So what are we going to do? Well, Glenn Hallstrom is going to be in New York, but not with me tomorrow. He'll be running games actually tomorrow and Saturday. I'll see him on Saturday. But that means tomorrow, where Glenn would normally be joining me, right, for Dungeons, Dragons, and Discourse, I now have nothing scheduled for Friday night's live stream. So I figure, and I talked to Don and Tom, we're going to move the vlog of many things to tomorrow night for this week. So it's going to be Friday at 8 p.m. Let me put the chat. There we go, in there. Uh, yeah, well, you're on a different team, Scott, because it's only me. And it's only me because I'm making the announcements as to what's going to be going on with the rest of the lives for this week. So, like I said, tomorrow, vlog of many things, but it will likely be hosted initially or mainly on this channel, although Don and Tom are, of course, welcome to share it, only because Fridays are my normal live stream night. Music, say this. I'm not Joe. Okay, I'm not Joe the lawyer. There's no soundtrack that accompanies my videos or my yapping. Sorry, doesn't that it don't happen with me. So tomorrow night, 8 p.m. No Glenn Hallstrom. Now so what you're gonna have Don, Tom, and myself. Saturday night, normally we have Gamers Health at 8 p.m. Well, I'll be out gaming with, you guessed it, Glenn and company, as will Rach. So, Gamers Health will be Sunday night. Now, Glenn will be with Rach and I starting Monday evening. Now, next live stream after that would be Wednesday. Wednesday will likely be Talking Crit, but you're probably going to have four hosts. You'll have the usual banter of Jim Kitchen, Bad Mike, and myself, and you'll have Glenn. All right, that brings us up to next Friday. David, welcome. Zuriel, welcome. Flint, welcome. Cal, all Saint Cuthbert, all the regulars. Uh, Next Friday, random party generator. Well, Glenn's going to be with us. We'll likely be in the Poconos, so Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're watching this and you're commenting, I know you're subscribed. Just you know the deal. So again, it's a little squirrely with the scheduling, but everything's gonna fall into place in the end. All right. So I know it's not the usual, but we have to adjust. Now, normally, if there was like a scheduling conflict like this, I would be going, "All right, Mike." As you see, Rach the ghost rise from
Sorry
behind.
about that.
It's okay. You just got picked up as a ghost in the camera, Rach. It was kind of cute.
Hey, that worked.
Yeah. Usually, Bad Mike would be like my emergency guest host, but Mike is at Game Hall, as are all my emergency guest hosts. So, moving stuff around, shuffling, while still trying to keep to the regular schedule as best as possible, works. Now, for those who don't know, Joe the lawyer had a video that went viral earlier today. And when I say viral, it caught some wings. Joe, I'm going to put Joe's video in the chat. What does it have now? It has 7,200 views. It was released what, late last night? I mean, holy crap! So this is Joe's video. He's got some ideas about the direction of Watsy. Fugly will be your emergency guest peanut gallery. Essentially, I expect comments and I expect to be hit with questions, so I'll do my best to answer them. But I figure this will be, it won't be the full hour, but it'll be probably 30 minutes, maybe 40. So, yes, Joe caught the algorithm. Um, he, it doesn't last. My one video that really caught the listen, the OS when the OSR OGL drama was going on, everything I did caught some kind of algorithm. But when I did the video on the Trove, that's got well over 30,000 hits over the last 3 years. That's pretty good. Uh, Hopefully Joe will get some antibiotics for that virus. Yeah, that he's a public servant. Although he does work from home a number of days with his position, he does have to go into work a number of days. I mean, I am blessed, right? I'm retired. I only have to socialize if I really want to socialize, except for my doctor's appointments, which I guess you could say is, well, you'd be in the midst of sick people. Oh, yeah, I guess you could. I guess you could say it that way. But so what else? What other tidbits of little information can I sneak out? Work on Blades and Arcana is going to probably kick off in full come November. And I say November because Glenn's going to be here for a week. I'm not going to get much work done on it, but I want to get some stuff done on it. I got some ideas. So I'll probably be outlining maybe this weekend as time allows, but Saturday's going to be gaming with Glenn, Jason, and a bunch of others out in Long Island. So really, it's Sunday. Rach has an outpatient surgical procedure on Monday. We pick up Glenn afterwards. We're here for a couple of days. Then we go up to the poker house. So, you know, it's a fine time had by all. What can I tell you? Then, sometime next year, there is talk of getting Torchlight. Now, remember, Torchlight was a zine for Swords and Wizardry Light. It's going to be more of a general purpose OSR gaming type of zine. Um, that just put a general date of 2025. Uh, Don, Tom, and I have some ideas for it, but we have other things that have to get hit on first. And obviously, Blades and Arcana is one of them. Uh, what else? What else do you? By the way, since I could put the chat up there, am I attending that new New York Con, the one in Central New York, the weekend after North Texas in June? Yes, I will. I'm a special guest. I believe myself and Greg Gillespie are special guests. I don't know who else they've announced yet, but we were the first two special guests that they made sure they had signed up. So I'll be running games. I'll be socializing, and since they have a bar on location, I'll be partaking in adult beverages. And yeah, no, it should be a lot of fun. They seem to really have their handle on it. I know they've spoken to the crew from Arduin, the Emperor's Choice guys. They will be there. I think they're the first publishers to officially have. I know, special guest, short buzz, hockey helmet, the whole 9 yards. I I know the joke. Listen, I'm not going to mention the con, but there's a con that essentially has me and Rach as unannounced special guests. And what does that mean? Well, we get comped badges, and we get in the. I guess you could say we appear in the special guest photos, but we're not listed as special guests because listen, in the OSR, I'm golden. You start going beyond the OSR, or you get to the outer rims of the OSR, I start becoming the evil one. So I'll also be a special guest at Page, but Page has so many special guests. Holy crap! So Page is in January. To put a pin in the troll, you probably should mention that Don and Tom are not in jail tonight or are having filet mignon for official disclosure. I wish I could say what kind of official meeting proceedings, but I can't. Oh man, I'm dying to, but I can't, and that's okay. And by the way, the troll would need. I think the troll would need a new account to even comment on this channel because I believe I blocked them a long time ago because they would only really troll on Gamers Health because they want to upset my wife. So go after yourself. So yeah, if anything outside the OSR might just be something worth burning at this point. Well, if you watch Joe's video or my response video, which I did to Joe's video, you'll see that Watsy's goal is not to grow the hobby. Watsy's goal is not to put out the best RPG. Watsy's goal is not necessarily to have happy customers. Watsy has one very specific goal, and that's to make money for Hasbro shareholders. That's it. So they already their prior president, um, Cynthia Williams, she gave away the game when she said D&D is under monetized because only the DMs really make a lot of purchases. The players don't. So how do you change that? Well, you change that by making the sales what you're selling make it what you're selling more not approachable, but necessary by the players, not just the DM. So you're going to probably see them switching their publishing adventures. Maybe they'll start hitting on settings, but I think it's going to be uh, books on spells and magic items and other accessories. They're going to that, and that's assuming that they're still aiming at the tabletop RPG market. If they are truly doing a pivot toward digital, remember Project Sigil, their VTT, and if I recall Sigil correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, but in Planescape, Sigil was known as the City of Doors, right? Well, they think of Project Sigil as your Roach Motel. The players get into the environment and they can't get out. I really think that I suspect that's what we're going to be looking at when it comes to it. I think that the idea, and Joe touches on this, that they're hoping people will subscribe and then they forget they subscribe. Yeah, but you generally don't forget you subscribe to an MMO because you're constantly playing it. But to be constantly playing an RPG, well, you're not going to have too many DMs that are going to be able to fill that role. I know my old gaming group wants me to be like a and D DM on demand, and they want to play 5e because 5e is the shiznit, and I need to learn 5e so I can run it from. This is my high school college group, and I see these guys once a year, and I was like, no, I am not going to wake up at 5 o'clock on a Sunday morning so I can game master for you guys, right? Or I'm not going to be called and say, hey, listen, we're all gaming in half an hour. Can you make it? Because you're the DM, right? If you can't make it, nobody's playing. Unlike with MMO, all right, well, we're not going to do that quest, but we can grind Expo. We can do something, right? So I believe with Project Sigil, the idea is, the hope is, and I've said this before, and I'll keep on saying this, that Watsy intends to use AI. Okay, so they're not going to use AI that scrubs the interwebs. I don't think. I think they've already given their clear signal, thanks to Chris Cox and his I use AI in my home games, and the we own thousands of adventures and modules. It's almost infinite. And look at all this great art we own going back decades. What does that mean? They're going to take an AI engine and they're going to train it on their art. They're going to train it on their adventures, their modules. Going back, and includes the ones from Dungeon Magazine, Dragon Magazine, RPGA, Polygon, Imagine. I mean, they've got the material, and they're going to crunch it all up, and it's going to generate AI dungeons. And once they can get a dungeon master AI that is good enough. It's not going to be a regular DM, but once players are accepting of the idea that Project Sigil gives them these 3D graphics, they are going to believe they're going to believe that they can pivot, and that pivot is going to allow for gaming without a human GM, so that on-demand game can happen. And remember, it's all going to be paid subscribers. Whatever you get for free is not going to be enough for you to do any more than a one-off game. You're going to want to subscribe to get all the benefits of integrating D&D Beyond with Project Sigil and all this other bullshit, and that's where they're making their money. Here's the other thing. Again, they don't need to keep their customer base. They can fire half their customer base. They don't care. Okay? As long as their profits are improving, they don't care if the D&D market shrinks. They're fine with that, because if their market shrinks, guess what? Everybody else's market shrinks. It doesn't work the way some people are going, oh, well, if D&D retreats, it's more for everybody else. D&D retreats, game stores, hobby stores are going to suffer. Okay? And if they can get rid of their competition, then they're going to own more of the market, and they're going to certainly want to own the online market. Okay, because this is where they can keep more and more of the money is generated. Baldur's Gate 3 did awesome, and it was licensed content, so they got licensing fees, but they left money on the table, and they know that, they see that, they have nightmares about it, and they have these beautiful dreams of what their future will hold if they can replicate that in house. Theatus, there's a good chance that as long as they can keep one out of the three players, but have them on a monthly sub, they will make more money than they currently are. While the rest of it all burns down. Yes, but Theatus, what you're forgetting is that a lot of these Baldur's Gate 3 players aren't tabletop RPG players, right? There's an overlap, for sure. But those, all right. So here, I got, I got 2 coins. Here's the Venn diagram. Okay, yes, there's an overlap, but this computer gamers is bigger than this tabletop RPG players. And even if they shed and this coin gets smaller, if they get a nice percentage of this larger coin, well, then they'll be very happy, because those are the players already used to paying subscription fees. Why do you think when they're showing Project Sigil off, they're showing Transformers bullshit in Project Sigil? That's not for tabletop gamers, okay? That's for computer games. That's for console gamers. That's what they want to see. You and I don't want to see it. Even if we're 5e players, I'm not. But even if I was a 5e player, I wouldn't want to see that. Cal, yes, game stores are already dying, and WotC is just accelerating the process. Okay? Listen, if your game store can't sell you their product, who can? WotC can. WotC is their own distributor now. WotC is selling direct to the consumer now, bundles and physical and digital content. And if you got those bundles, you got tchotchkes, but you didn't get real tchotchkes. They weren't physical tchotchkes. Okay, they were quite literally digital tchotchkes. So they were nothing, nothing, nothing. Oh, I get a Red Dragon miniature digital for my pre-order. Well, whoop de fucking do. But now we don't know their real figures for sales because they're not really reporting the sales that they're making directly. And with the direct sales, are they counting these bundle sales as two sales? Hey, it's a better question. Are they counting these sales? Each book is being in a different quarter. So is each book being sold obviously separately and each digital copy that's bundled being counted in that? I don't know. David, is it true that L'Oreal is to produce the licensed official D&D DM's blue hair dye? He made me belch on that one, dude. He made me belch. Good question. I don't know. I don't know. Flint, Warhammer Magic has kept game stores afloat for many years. Certainly. But even with Magic, WotC is doing all they can to ruin the aftermarket. And these game stores, they thrive on the aftermarket too. That's where they make a good portion of their profits. It's just buy low, sell high on the collectible cards. Well, if you reprint these collectible cards, you're ruining the market. Mr. Gunn, I hope you are well. I am well. Don is well. Tom is well. So just to repeat for those in late, um, tomorrow the vlog of many things will essentially be on this channel, but I'm sure shared on Don and Tom's. That'll be 8 p.m. tomorrow. Normally it would be Glenn, but Glenn is running games tomorrow night out in Long Island because he arrived today. Saturday, Gamers Health is being punted till Sunday. It's being punted to Sunday because Rich and I will be in Long Island playing games with Glenn and Jason and others. And then Glenn joins us here at the Tavern for a week starting Monday. And some of that time will be spent in New York, some of that time will be spent in the Poconos. Uh, yes, happy Thursday, nerd. Nerd Cognito. Yes, it's a beautiful Thursday. It was a little cold. It was a little busy, but you know what? Busy keeps you out of trouble, right? Is that the way it works? So, now I don't know if it's just me, but I'm beginning to think that these single person live streams do work with this embedded chat in the window because I don't have to just put your comments up. I can address them. Yes, Mr. Gunn, Long I. There's an A in that. Long Island. Long Island. And it actually, the accent is different if you're out from Long Island as opposed to just like New York City. And New York City has different dialects within the city, but I'm not good at identifying them all. I'm too much of a chameleon when it comes to accents to identify accents sometimes. Fugly, it is essentially GlenCon. Glenn is running games Friday and he's running games Saturday. And Saturday includes a barbecue. So Rach and I will be at GlenCon on Saturday. I don't know if I'm running anything. I'll find out tomorrow. If I am, I'll run what I ran on over at ShireCon. That's something I can just whip it out type of deal. Or I could just bring one of my random decks of my random dungeon decks. Those work out pretty well too. I've done that. Especially if I pull a card or two before the session, and I brainstorm it on the drive out there, could work. So, but I know. This is what I told Don and Tom ago. I know the community is expecting some kind of a live stream uh, today, and I know most of you all love, like, tolerate us. We're entertaining, and there's a few that like chomp at their teeth, bite their lip, waiting to see what the latest thing we're gonna present is. Well, I didn't want to leave my fans, our fans, wondering where the live is. I figured let me do the live. Let me explain what the deal is. But you're gonna get your normal three of us tomorrow night. Flint, my Brooklyn was showing last night, got called out for calling pecans. Ooh. So Flint, my father grew up in Ridgewood, and Ridgewood is right in the border with Brooklyn, and he had a very Brooklyn accent, and he had such an accent that when he was in his 20s, he actually took speech lessons to get past his accent. So God bless him. I would have kept it personally. I would have been happy with it. Mr. Gunn, we want meat. We ain't had nothing but moldy bread for 3 days. That ain't my fault. Moldy bread, by the way, we had a live stream last night, which was insane. I have to admit that the live stream last night was a little bit crazy from Game Hall, and there was no alcohol involved. Figure that shit out. Oh, and I'm realizing that I never. Ah, man. As I am want to do as I multitask. Uh, I gotta make the announcement that at 9 o'clock in the speakeasy, uh, over on the Discord channel, and I'll put up the Discord invite. I know I forgot to do that last week. Everyone, hashtag, no, everyone Tavern. You know, my multitasking is not the best. All right. I knew I forgot to do something, and remind me. You remind me, god damn it. Invite peoples. All right. So I'm gonna put this up in a chat. If you want to join the Discord server, Discord server, I think we got like 2,600 people. We've got a large number of fairly active people. Well, Fugly, you're in the area where you could learn to know pecan growers. So I could see that. I could see that. So, oh yes, by the way, yes, I sprung a leak. This is partially due, well, largely due to the fact I'm on blood thinners since with my congestive heart failure. So, occasionally I scratch myself and I spring a leak. It it's highly entertaining. Not. These nuts or uts, depending on where you are. Oh. All right, I'm going to leave you the last couple of minutes of this. It's open questions. So if you've got questions that I have not answered yet, feel free to ask them. I'll see what I can do about getting you an answer to your question. Now, don't be giving me mathematical questions. I know that somebody like Mr. Gunn would be like, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give him one of the what's the absolute value of? Yeah, I'm totally conflicted between not just shaving off the sides, but getting rid of the whole goatee. Because I mean, I've had this for the last 8 years, 8.5. Yes, Joe Screed was good, and it's gone viral. It's got how high is up? These are philosophical questions. Joe has Uh, 7,350 views. Uh, that's pretty damn good. I got to give him a lot of credit. But he caught the wave. I'm not gonna say that he did any clickbaiting, but he had Professor DM and a few other known faces in his thumbnail. So people are like, ooh, I got to see this one. But the rant was good. Uh, I think it was. I think it missed to fill a few more salient parts. You know, I looked like Santa Claus, and I almost played Santa Claus like I don't know 35 years ago when I was working retail. I had that look. I was like, that look. The Swords and Wizardry Project Flint has morphed into Blades and Arcana. And it's morphed into that for a number of reasons, not the least of which was when Matt Finch left Frog God Games, he was fully embracing Swords and Wizardry as uh, not only his project, but his title. And I had a deal to use Swords and Wizardry Light and Continual Light from Frog God Games, and Matt was a partner when the deal was done. And I could certainly have kept with that, but initially my mindset was like, all right, I'm just going to continue with Continual Light, drop the Swords and Wizardry. But then we morphed on from that, and I wanted to call it Blades and Sorcery. And we started getting some of the basic rules together because it's going to come in a little bit heavier than uh, Continual Light was, but it's I'm looking to have the flexibility of adding different genres to it. So it's gonna have to be a little heavier. But Blade, Blades and Sorcery was bounced off of Tim Cask. Yes, him, Tim Cask, and he still does a lot of editing these days. And he was looked at, asked to look at the document, and he's like, "You can't call it this." And I already was referring to it as BS. I got my BS project. I'm happy with BS. BS works for me. He goes, "You can't call it BS." He goes, "People are going to call it bullshit." I'm like, "That's exactly the point. It's viral." Tim killed it. So, Blades and Arcana was a good replacement for that. And I think it kind of conjures up the same certain ideas. But I do want to have a full pledged illusionist class. Um, it will be OGL ish or Creative Commons ish, or I think it's OGL with the Wizard Tower Games OGL tacked on top of it. It's going to be made so you can publish stuff. Oh, now it's badass. I didn't even think about that. All right, BA badass. I like that. Thank you, Flint. So now there is. Oh God. I got reading material for this weekend. Let me see if I can tell you a little bit about it. So one of the uh, the taverners, a German, by the way, wrote a setting for Continual Light, and he just finished it in the English version, and it's in the realms of the Nibelungs, Nibelungs. I'm gonna copy and paste this. I have the PDF. I got to go through it, but it's really great to see people taking your work and expanding upon it or being inspired by it. So, Realm of the Nibelungs, and it's up on Drive Through. It's an English version. If you're looking for a small setting for Continual Light, it should fit it perfectly, and it should fit Blades and Arcana pretty well later too. Like I said, Blades and Arcana is still going to be relatively simple, but it's going to be built so that we can add on genre books to it. So if you want to do swords and planetary, you want to do science fiction, you want to do horror, we're going to try to get the basics to that ready to go. Rome of the Dwarves, I don't, my German is not nicht so gut. Ich spreche Deutsch, aber nicht so gut. Nicht so gut. Nicht so schnell, bitte. Not so fast, please. So I don't know that one. That's too deep a word for me to have learned in college. Sorry, sir. Sorry. So, all right. Well, we have the chat going on at 9 o'clock in the Discord server. I don't want to do a disservice to any of the taverns communities. You guys are and gals are all awesome. I really do appreciate all the support. Oh my god, the outpouring this past week has been humbling, humbling, and it's really appreciated. Um, I think I'm going to. I had told Rach I'd be on for about 20-25 minutes. And once I started, I said, "Oh, it's going to be at least half an hour." But we're nearing 37 minutes. Oh my God. Tom Tullis comes in right at the end, right when I'm about to pull the plug. I see Tom, by the way, has a new game that just released. It it looks damn good. It makes me want to, hook up my 3D printer that I bought. How long ago? Oh, that's right, June of 2023. So nearly a year and a half ago. Thank you, Tom. Now we have to set that damn thing up. Um, we'll probably have to have Tom on a Wednesday night at some point. Yeah, Foogly, I'll probably see you in the chat. Oh, you and your memes, sir. You and your memes. Dangerous. Dangerous. Wait a second. We started this thing nearly 38 minutes ago. That's one hell of a pee. Or meme making. But like I said, all right, I need to do a few things. Can you be shirtless? Only if Mike can be shirtless. Do you really want that? Do you really want that? Because I know I don't. I know I don't. Think about that. Think about that. God help us. All right. I'm gonna pull the plug on this. I got a few things I gotta get done before we do the Discord hangout. Like I said, links in the chat. You know, if you have issues getting approved, just go into the common room and say, "Hey, Tenkar, give me authorization, and I will make sure." I don't want bed. All right. Before I log out, I'm gonna give Tom one of my. I don't think Tom's heard this cop story. All right, but this did happen. This was uh, probably late 2000. No, actually no. It was probably early 2000 and 2002. No, maybe all right earlier. Sorry, my yeah 2000. I was on patrol in the 4-1 precinct, known as Fort Apache, but we were in the new building, and we had a guy, Mike, not bad Mike, but Mike, who was going for the equivalent of a psych. He wanted to go out in a psych pension. He was trying real hard. Claimed he heard voices, God talking to him, all this stuff. But if you knew the guy, you knew it was all for show. So one day we have a female sergeant who's going to be covering patrol, so she's doing roll call. And Mike stands roll call. Yeah, everybody's together, and he comes down to roll call completely naked except for his boots, gun belt, and cap. And he makes sure he's standing in the first row, and everybody's giggling. Oh, this is fucking ridiculous, right? And of course, he's doing it to a female sergeant. So she comes in to do the roll call and cocks her head. She didn't do a double take; she just kind of cocked her head, and then she gets to the podium, and she just says, "Before I can do roll call, everybody has to be in proper uniform." And then she turns the mic and says, "Unless you plan on pinning your shield through your nipple, I expect you to be in uniform in the next 5 minutes." And he sheepishly walked away and upstairs to the locker room and put on his proper uniform. This is the NYPD in the late '90s. It's gotten a lot better since then. It should have won. Dress wouldn't have. NYPD Klinger, he tried it all. He really did. And in the end, when he retired, he was a swinger. He bought his wife breasts for their wedding. He had a tanning. This is in the late '90s, early aughts. He had a tanning bed in his bedroom. So he moved his family out to California, and the night before he was to move and fly out himself, it's not a dare. No, it's not a dare time. The night before he was to fly out, somebody broke into his apartment and stole two things: his large screen TV, and I remember these were expensive back then, and his tanning bed. Local police were kind of suspicious that the only things stolen were two things that could not be transported to California. On his last day to report, when he had to go in and do his pension paperwork, Internal Affairs and the local police department from Westchester County were waiting for him at one police plaza to arrest him for. Uh, I only saw him one day after that trying to park his motorcycle at the NFL Day detail that I had with my cops when I was a sergeant. So, go figure. You're not. You don't have a shield to pin through your nipple, man. Uh, and we didn't know. God, come on, that if you got written up for shit like that, I mean, I wasn't involved in it, but somebody put live chickens in the admin lieutenant's office over a long weekend. Four live chickens leave a lot of shit over the course of a weekend, all over the place. They were nice enough; they left food for the damn birds. We had practical jokes going on all the time. You're right. Yeah, He's a one man crew. So I don't think I think Tom could fire himself. It would be interesting. All right, my time is running out. I got stuff to do to get ready for the Discord, including taking garbage out. So, folks, as always, be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice, roll them well. And yes, this format works for live streams, even one on one man live stream. So, you all proved me right. All right, I can do this. There'll be an announcement coming up this week. I'll probably do something like this on one afternoon a week to make it more timely for my folks that are across the pond.